So, is camping alive or is it dying? Is the RV industry telling us the truth that RVs are flying off the lots and the campgrounds are full, or are we in for a downturn?
Let's find out.
Those are the burning questions that we're going to tackle in this video, so let's jump right in. Number one, how hard is it to make reservations?
Well,
over to you, Therese.
Well, since this last few days I've been trying to make a reservation for us being off the second week of November. There's nothing open.
In November?
In November.
Nothing.
The 9th through the 13th. No state parks. I really didn't call any of the private parks, but I'd rather stay at a state park. But we had to call the military.
Military campground.
Military campground. And there was only 2 spots left.
So just to run a test, we checked every state park in the state of Oregon for the month of November.
That wasn't too far away.
Well, even the far ones, there was only, in the entire state of Oregon, 41 sites available, but they were too far away for us to go for a weekend.
That, and I think only maybe one would have fit us.
Right, and then there's that part too.
So, yeah.
So getting reservations is a real big issue right now. And I don't know how it is where you are, but in the state of Oregon,
it's hard.
You can only make reservations 6 months out.
Yeah. I thought it was 9, but it's not.
It's 6 months. It used to be 9.
No, it used to be
a year. Which begs the question, are they really full? Or did a lot of people buy rigs this year?
Yeah.
And then they made a whole bunch of reservations and they're not showing up.
Right.
Because that's been our experience at the last 2 state parks that we were at, that there was a lot of empty sites, even though the state park said that they were full.
Right.
So there's a problem with the reservation system. If there are no-shows or people fail to cancel,
right,
that those sites aren't made available in Reserve America. So what we do know is RV sales are still good.
Yeah.
People are still buying RVs. And I think even with the economy the way it is, people are buying now for fear of what's going to happen down the road.
Well, in the next 6 to 12 months, yes.
Right. Because I know I was up at our local dealer yesterday and they were saying that they are selling, and even at the last RV show,
yeah, they did really good.
They were selling.
At least the dealership that we were dealing with.
Right. And there's another RV show here in November, and real curious to see how that one's going to go. Even with the way things are, in order to find solutions to this problem of not being able to get in, we came up with essentially 3 options.
Right.
That are suitable for us, and we think for you too. Number 1, we're going to have to start exploring private parks.
Right, and we have in the past, but it'll probably have to be a little bit more KOAs.
So during the pandemic, we had to go to private parks.
Correct.
Because the private parks were the only parks that were open. They shut down the state parks here, but because of seasonals and whatnot, private parks were allowed to stay open, so they opened it up for everybody.
Well, and they opened it up for full-timers, not just seasonal people, but full-timers that had to get into a campground.
Yeah, and had to go somewhere.
Right.
We stayed at quite a few private parks during the pandemic. The other option that is suitable for us, and probably some of you out there, is the military system, the military campgrounds. Through morale, welfare, and recreation, whether it's the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the military campground systems, there are some terrific campgrounds out there, and they're at reasonable prices. I was on the phone with a military campground yesterday, and she said that they were absolutely booked. In fact, we took the last 2 spots. And the reason they're booked is because you can't get into the state parks. And a lot of retirees, a lot of disabled veterans, they like to stay at state parks because it's free. So they're turning to the military campgrounds where it's not free, but it's really good rates.
Yeah, it's pretty good rate.
Anyway, staying in military campgrounds, or if you belong to like the Elks have campgrounds. There's other organizations that have campgrounds out there.
Right.
So we need to start exploring some of those options. And then finally,
we have boondocking and the Harvest Host.
Right. Going out there where you got free BLM camping and whatnot, which is really tough in Oregon this time of year.
Yeah.
Because all of that BLM land is out where
it's snowy.
It's snowy and yeah. And I don't want to get all the way out there without hookups and the ability to bail out real quick.
Right.
And maybe that's just a silly fear that I have, and it's not founded on anything, because the fact of the matter is we've only boondocked, like real boondock, once.
Yeah,
and that was at a farm.
No, we did it down at the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, that's on that farm.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a pasture. I wouldn't call it a farm.
Well, they grow
a big field
things there. It was a big field.
Yeah.
And so we camped there legitimately without anything.
Yeah, we couldn't even have a fire. We couldn't even have a propane fire.
And then any other time that we haven't been on hookups, it's been Harvest Host, which we absolutely enjoy.
Right.
But you're restricted to one night, maybe two. And so that doesn't really work well for a long weekend or even a weekend. So those are kind of some options that we need to explore. So what's the bottom line?
We got to reserve early, which means that we have to decide where we want to go and what weekends we can go.
Right.
We have to be flexible because...
Yeah, if you can't get in somewhere that you really had your heart set,
yeah,
you might have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And a great example of that is if we can't get into Fort Stevens, then we might have to go to the KOA across the street from Fort Stevens.
Right.
Which means we're going to have to budget more
right.
for our camping in the near future.
Right, because prices are going to go up.
Right.
Everything else is going up, so that's going to be the next thing.
And that is the last item in our bottom line,
right,
is that we need to be prepared to pay more, because it's a simple supply and demand issue, where now all of a sudden you have the same amount of supply of campgrounds, but the demand went way up.
The more campers.
So now they could charge whatever they want.
Yeah.
And we know that prices are going to go up because prices are going up for everything. You have a choice to make. You can complain about it, or you can hook up the rig and go camping. But if you are going to, make your reservations early, don't cancel, and be flexible, and get out there and enjoy the RV lifestyle.
I'm ready, let's go.
Yep. All right, we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.